Hello. Thank you for joining us for the Director Administrator Training for GoPad Secure. My name is Pamela Dixon, and I'm going to walk you through the GoPad web portal. GoPad is comprised of a web portal accessible from any computer and also an app for iPad or iPad mini. The administrator manages the GoPad program from the web portal, and the teacher or coach uses the app on the iPad in the classroom or on the field. Today we will walk through the web portal and explore how the administrator can use it to view the attendance dashboard for the entire school or program, generate reports, and communicate with staff and parents. As you can see, once I log in, I have on my screen the demonstration website for the fictitious Truers School. The administrator who is signed in is Amy Dixon. You can see her name and photograph on the top left-hand corner here, as well as today's date. Let's walk through each option on this menu, starting with the dashboard, which is where the page lands once you log in. The dashboard provides a critically important function for the administrator. The dashboard gives the administrator the exact number of students, staff, and visitors on campus at any given time, as well as a total head count. GoPad has both an attendance and security focus. It tells the administrator how many students, staff, and visitors are on campus at any point during the school day. This is especially critical information for both the school and first responders in the event of an evacuation, weather, or other emergency. As each child is checked in for the day, or as a class leaves on a field trip, or a visitor checks in on the system at the front desk, these totals here will reflect that change in real time. As you click on each category, students, staff, and visitors, the box below, let's call it the attendance display, will give greater detail for each group. So if I click on students here, the dashboard in the attendance display box will show the number of students checked in for the day, the number of students reported absent, the number who have checked out or have been dismissed for the day, and the number of children on field trip. In the event of an emergency, this information can be instantly exported as a PDF and also exported to a printer with these two buttons here at the top of the attendance dashboard display. To the right of the attendance display is today's log, again in real time. This log, designed to track school visitors, shows the administrator all who check in at the school or program's front desk. Below the attendance dashboard display here is the field trip box. This box will list all classrooms on field trip, their destination, time of departure, and time of expected return. To the right of this information is a small circle with the letter I. When you click on this circle, the names and cellular numbers of field trip chaperones will appear. The Classroom app for iPad has a field trip button. The GoPad will temporarily check the entire class out of the school and place them on field trip in the administrative dashboard. The GoPad goes with the teacher and the class on the field trip. Teachers have emergency medical and contact information for each child at their fingertips. When the class returns, the teacher simply clicks on the field trip button again, and the class is checked back into the school on the administrative dashboard. Okay, so those are the attendance features on the administrative dashboard, but there are some other important functions as part of this menu option that we will review now. As I mentioned before, GoPad is a tool for digital attendance and for security. Good attendance practices are key for day-to-day security of students and staff and give administrators better control of their campus. Most schools have an intercom or telephone system for administrators to communicate with the school in an emergency. GoPad provides another tool for this emergency communication. Best practices call for communication redundancy. In other words, the more methods for emergency communication inside of your building, the better. To the right of the total headcount box are two buttons, Evacuate Now and Lockdown Now. In the event of an emergency evacuation for fire, environmental hazard, or other emergency, any administrator can click this red button. A pop-up will confirm this action, and when Proceed is clicked, a loud siren will ring on each classroom GoPad. The GoPad screen will show an evacuation is underway and will give maps to the off-site shelter location chosen by your school. The evacuation is ended by clicking the button and a second time confirming the end of the evacuation. The alarms will sound on every iPad that is on Wi-Fi and has the GoPad app installed and running, even in the background. Teachers outside the school building for recess will receive this alert on their GoPad as long as the playground has a Wi-Fi signal. Similarly, if Lockdown Now is clicked and confirmed from the administrative dashboard, an alarm on each iPad and a lockdown display will give classroom teachers the lockdown protocol that is in place and has been practiced at your school. The second button, Notify, allows the administrator to communicate with all parents and caregivers, all staff, or both. When the administrator clicks Notify, a window pops up to the right, allowing the administrator to choose who will receive the message and to customize the message itself before clicking Send. The message will then be sent to all members of the group. Messages can also be pre-written and saved for different emergency situations, such as weather closure, fire, or other emergency. Finally, there are two buttons at the top right-hand corner of the administrative dashboard, Send Invite and Notify. The Send Invite button will send an invitation to all parents entered into the system. The administrator clicks the button and is required to confirm the request. Once confirmed, GoPad will send an invitation by email to all parents, allowing them to log into their own child's profile for the purpose of updating address, caregiver, or medical information. The message will then be sent to all members of the group. Messages can also be pre-written and saved for different emergency situations, such as weather closure, fire, or other emergency. So that is the administrative dashboard view. Now let's move on to the menu items on the left, here below the dashboard. Classrooms. The Classrooms view allows the administrator to manage students by classroom, create classrooms or like groups, and assign teachers to those classrooms. This dashboard gives the total number of children, and then the children checked in, out, and absent. The classrooms are listed with more detail below. The small search box in the top right-hand corner allows the administrator to search for the classroom by name, or the classroom detail can be accessed by clicking on the classroom name itself. To the right of the field trip column is a small icon that looks like a pencil. If the administrator clicks on that icon, he or she can edit that classroom information, change the name, teachers assigned, and whether or not it is an after-school classroom. We will talk a little bit more about extended day or after school in a moment. By clicking on a classroom, the administrator can see all the children assigned to that class and their status for the day, in, out, or absent. Note that a double line in the status area here indicates no status, which means that the child has not come to school or been reported absent. Clicking further on the name of a child will bring up that child's individual biographical profile and photograph. This includes the child's name, date of birth, gender, hair color, and eye color. Because the GoPad goes with the teacher on a field trip and off-site, this information and photograph are critical in the event of a lost child situation. The child's photograph can be added from a file by the administrator or a parent through the parent portal, or can be added by the teacher, who can take a photograph in the classroom with the iPad and instantly import it into the program. Under the child's information is the classroom where the child is assigned. The administrator can edit and reassign students to new classrooms, both while making admissions decisions and in subsequent school years. There is a box next to the classroom which says Opted for Extended Classroom. This is the button that determines whether or not the child has registered for an after-school program, which will impact how they are dismissed at the end of the day, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. Here you see the photographs, names, and biographical information of the student's parents. Administrators can add a new caregiver under the child's profile from this view by clicking on Add New under Parent and Caregiver. You will see that this brings up a profile page for this person, and it includes name, relationship to the child, address, telephone, and email. A caregiver is anyone who will drop off or collect a child from school. The GoPad system collects the contact information of all caregivers as part of its day-to-day security function. A cellular or mobile number is required on the system, as well as an email address. The email address is the unique identifier for each contact entered. At the bottom of the parent and caregiver profile, you will see Preferred Mode of Communication. This is where the caregiver or parent can choose how they wish to receive school notifications. If inaccurate email and/or mobile information is entered into the system, the parent or caregiver will not receive these messages. There are two toggles at the bottom, here. One toggle says Notify on Arrival and Dismissal. If this is switched to the On position, the parent or caregiver will receive a text or email message when the child arrives at school and also when they're dismissed from school. The message will include timestamp and the name of the person who collected the child. Below this is another toggle which says Opt for All School Updates. This is the emergency notification we reviewed on the administrative dashboard. If the parent or caregiver does not have this toggle in the on position, they will not receive emergency alerts or all school updates. At least one parent must make this election. Emergency contact information may also be added by the administrator from this view. A star is used to designate the first person the parents have elected to be called in an emergency. Medical information, such as allergies and other conditions, can be added in this box by the administrator, as well as the name and contact information for the child's pediatrician. Finally, there is a box for other important information. All of this can be edited from this administrative view, by the teacher on the classroom iPad, and by the parent through the parent portal. The most important thing to remember when editing a child's profile is that the Update button must be clicked when the new information has been added. This ensures that the new information is saved on the system and will instantly update the information on all devices. The Classroom view also allows the administrator to create a new classroom. You can do this by clicking on this button on the top right. This will open a pop-up window which will allow the administrator to name the classroom, assign 2 faculty members, and then designate whether this is a regular classroom or an extended day classroom. Once a class has been created, any child can be assigned to that class through their student page. When we reviewed the student profile, we noted that a child could opt for the extended classroom. Children can be moved by the teacher into an extended classroom or after-school program on the iPad. This eliminates the need to check them out and then check them back in again. They are simply moved from their daytime classroom to their after-school program or after-school classroom. Their names then appear in the after-school classroom on the administrative dash. This after-school function can also be used for sports programs and other school-sponsored activities. Here you see the photographs, names, and biographical information of the student's parents. Administrators can add a new caregiver under the child's profile from this view by clicking on Add New under Parent and Caregiver. You will see that this brings up a profile page for this person, and it includes name, relationship to the child, address, telephone, and email. A caregiver is anyone who will drop off or collect a child from school. The GoPad system collects the contact information of all caregivers as part of its day-to-day security function. A cellular or mobile number is required on the system, as well as an email address. The email address is the unique identifier for each contact entered. Emergency contact information may also be added by the administrator from this view. A star is used to designate the first person the parents have elected to be called in an emergency. Medical information, such as allergies and other conditions, can be added in this box by the administrator, as well as the name and contact information for the child's pediatrician. Finally, there is a box for other important information. All of this can be edited from this administrative view, by the teacher on the classroom iPad, and by the parent through the parent portal. The classroom view also allows the administrator to create a new classroom. You can do this by clicking on this button on the top right. This will open a pop-up window which will allow the administrator to name the classroom, assign 2 faculty members, and then designate whether this is a regular classroom or an extended day classroom. Once a class has been created, any child can be assigned to that class through their student page. That is the Classroom menu tab. Below Classrooms, on the left-hand side, you see Students. Let's explore this menu tab now. The Students tab is the administrator's list of all the students in the school or program in alphabetical order by first name. As you see, there is a dashboard at the top of this view with the total number of students, the number checked in, checked out, and absent. You also see here a box on the dashboard with no status, and you will recall these are students who are not checked in, out, or absent, meaning students who have not had any interaction with your program today. If you have 2 sessions, morning and afternoon, and you're viewing the dashboard in the morning, your afternoon students will be in this no status group, and this is indicated in their individual student profile with a double line. At 10 o'clock each morning, the administrators will receive a text message and email listing the no status students. This list, with name and primary contact number, allows you to quickly and easily see who is still unaccounted for. Finally, when a student has no status, you will see to the far right of their student profile a small circle with a line inside. This is the Remove Student button. If you click on this button, a pop-up window will confirm the removal of the student. If you click on Yes, you will receive this confirmation, and you immediately notice that the total number of students has been reduced by 1, and the student is no longer visible on the list. The student record, however, is not permanently deleted. It is simply inactive. This feature allows the school to reactivate a student who may leave for a year and return, but more importantly, the administrator has a record of all prior students and their historic information. Once a child has been made inactive, you will find them here by clicking on this Inactive Student button next to Add New Student. You will see there is a total number of inactive students, as well as a toggle that allows you to reactivate the student at any time. When I slide this toggle to the right, the child is once again active and added to both the student roster as well as the total number of students in the school. Okay, that is the student view. Now if we move back to the menu on the left-hand side of the page, the next option is Staff. The GoPad Staff module is viewed by the administrator on this same web interface. It is designed to be used in conjunction with the Front Desk GoPad module. Staff check themselves into the system by swiping their name right to left on the staff list at the front desk. Staff are not checked into the system when they log into the classroom iPads. They must check in and out at the front desk. Although this staff check-in can be used to determine hours worked, it is intended primarily as a security feature, so the administrator knows how many staff people are on campus at any given time. The staff dashboard is very similar to the student view, with the total number of staff, those checked in, out, and absent. As with students, you can search by a staff member by name, and you can add a staff member by clicking on the Add Staff button. Additionally, staff members can be removed or made inactive on the system by clicking the circle button with the line in it, removing the staff member, and then noting that again, the staff total has been reduced by 1. The inactive staff member is located here in the inactive section and can also be reactivated by clicking on this toggle. This might be a particularly helpful feature in cases of maternity leave, sabbatical, or other extended absences. Upon returning to school, the staff member can be reactivated into the staff roster. So that is the staff dashboard. Let's move on to visitors. Visitors are also similarly managed through the GoPad front desk module. Visitor monitoring is attended for service providers, educational specialists, entertainers, even parents who work inside the library or the classroom. Any visitor who will remain inside the school building for more than a few minutes should be accounted for. This is particularly true in cases of maintenance, where fire, accident, or other situation might make it necessary for first responders to have an accurate picture of who was inside the building. Similarly, in the case of theft or any other legal situation, it is important for the school or program to know who was inside the building and what time they arrived and departed for the day. The visitor dashboard only shows visitors in and out. The GoPad system will save visitors, so service providers who return on a regular basis will not need to re-enter their information, but simply swipe themselves in at the front desk. From the administrative dashboard, you can add an anticipated visitor in advance by clicking on this Add Visitor button here on the right. Once the new visitor is added to the system, their name will appear on the front desk GoPad. Their name will also appear on the administrative dashboard. Okay, the next view on our administrative menu is Log. The log is a running list of system actions in real time. As soon as a student, staff member, or guest is checked in, they are added to the log in chronological order with name, status, classroom, and time, and then also the name of the staff member responsible. Similarly, when someone checks out or is marked absent, these actions will register on the log. The log is also a useful statistical tool for administrators. At the top of this log view, you will see a set of filter windows. These windows can be used to produce reports. This window here shows a date range. The range can be set by clicking on the dates and then using the calendar tool to set the range and to search. By entering the date range, the administrator will see the log for all actions in, out, and absent during that time period. This is useful if an administrator were trying to find out who is in the building on a given date. By adding the first and last name of a student, staff member, or visitor for a given date range, the administrator can pull up the complete data set for this individual over the time span selected. The Filters drop-down here on the top right allows you to create a custom search, again by entering a date range, and then searching by title. By clicking on this export tool, an Excel spreadsheet is created with the search's information. So that is the log in the administrator's view. The next two menu items, evacuation and lockdown, are functions that assist your school or program with your emergency security protocol. As I mentioned previously, the GoPad is equipped with alarms that you can activate in an emergency as a form of communication redundancy. If you click on evacuation, this window allows you to customize the evacuation plan for your school and includes maps, so substitutes and visitors will know where to assemble if evacuation is necessary. As you can see, the window allows for customization of 3 locations: primary, secondary, and tertiary. A map of the location can be easily uploaded by clicking on Choose a File. The lockdown menu item is similarly customizable for your school. When you trigger a lockdown alarm, these lockdown instructions will appear as the alarm is sounding. The final 2 menu tabs here on the left are Support, which will bring you directly to our support page, and Log Out, which will automatically log the administrator out of the program. That concludes the Administrator web-based training session. We are available to answer any further questions at support@gopadsecure.com. Thank you for listening.